On July 20th, 1969, the world stopped to watch a single moment in history. Neil Armstrong stepped onto the lunar surface and declared a giant leap for mankind. It was a triumph for science, technology, and human ambition, the crowning moment of the space race. Yet decades later, that moment remains surrounded by doubt. Could something so monumental have been an illusion? Or do the facts tell a different story? Tonight, we explore the mystery, the truth, the myths, and the enduring debate over the moon landing. The 1960s were defined by competition. The United States and the Soviet Union locked in a Cold War battle for technological dominance. When President John F. Kennedy promised to land a man on the moon before the decade's end, the challenge seemed impossible. By 1969, after a series of costly and dangerous missions, Apollo 11 carried Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins on a 250,000-mile journey into the unknown. The images broadcast to Earth appeared to show success beyond imagination. But soon after, a small number of people began to ask, did we really go? The first major doubts emerged in the 1970s. Author Bill Kaysing, a former aerospace contractor, published a book claiming NASA lacked the technology to make a safe lunar trip. His theories gained traction during an era of political scandal and growing mistrust of government. Television specials and magazine stories began exploring the so-called moon landing controversy. The debate took root, and it's never completely faded away. Critics of the official story often point to several puzzling details. First, the flag. In footage from the lunar surface, the American flag seems to flutter, despite there being no wind on the moon. Second, the shadows. Some photos show shadows pointing in different directions, suggesting multiple light sources as though filmed on a set. Third, the missing stars. In every photo, the lunar sky is pitch black. Where are the stars? Fourth, radiation. Between Earth and the moon lies the Van Allen belt, a region of intense radiation. Could astronauts have survived passing through it? And finally, technology. In 1969, onboard computers were weaker than the phones we carry today. Could that primitive equipment really guide a spacecraft through space, land it, and bring it home? To skeptics, these points raise reasonable questions. To others, they highlight how easily we can be deceived by appearances. NASA and independent scientists have spent decades addressing these claims with evidence. The flag. It contained a small horizontal rod to keep it extended. It only moved when astronauts adjusted the pole, and without air resistance, it continued to sway longer than expected. The shadows. The moon's uneven terrain and single light source, the sun, create optical illusions. Slight slopes cause shadows to diverge naturally. The missing stars. The cameras were set for fast exposure to capture the bright surface. Stars simply didn't appear under those conditions. The same happens in daylight photos on Earth. Radiation. Apollo flight paths were planned to limit time within the Van Allen belts. Measured doses were well below dangerous levels. Technology. Though early, the Apollo computers were highly specialized. Combined with manual controls and pre-calculated trajectories, they proved remarkably precise. And there's physical proof still on the moon today. Retroreflectors placed by Apollo astronauts that bounce laser light back to Earth, confirming their presence. So, if the evidence is strong, why do doubts persist? Psychologists suggest it's rooted in human nature. When institutions lose public trust, people search for hidden explanations. The idea of a staged moon landing combines all the elements of a powerful modern myth: politics, secrecy, and technology just beyond our understanding. Believing that something so iconic could be false makes the world feel mysterious again, and for many, that's strangely comforting. More than half a century later, the moon landing remains a symbol of humanity's ambition and of our endless curiosity about truth itself. Billions watched a moment that changed history, but the debate endures. Was it the greatest step we've ever taken, or the greatest story ever told? In the end, you decide.